To understand what I'm about to tell you, you need to do something first. You need to believe in the impossible. Can you do that?
What do you desire that you can't have?
Now you should at least give a brother a moment to say something heroically clever.
You have failed this city.
So I have this thing with rolls.
Just the end of the world.
There's about a dozen ways that I could stop you right now. But I don't think I have to.
You're the boy from the circus.
I started up a security firm.
Finally, a superhero team I can actually get behind.
In the future, my friends may not be heroes, but if we succeed, they will be remembered as legends.
Welcome to the DC TV report for the week ending Saturday, March 7th, 2020. I'm Little Eddie O'Hare, aspiring professional fanboy.
And I'm Sara Netzley, academic by day, writer by night.
We're here to bring you recaps, news, and commentary for all live-action television shows based on DC Comics.
And we have one new episode for you, and one, it's not really a retro pick, one other thing.
Yeah.
You.
I mean, it's a retro pick. It happened in the past. Yeah, and the episode we're watching is, I forgot to put in the description, is a penultimate episode.
Oh, hey. I keep forgetting. So Black Lightning has it's a shorter run. They're not doing 20-some, so.
Yeah.
Yep, that makes sense.
Yeah. I think they do the Legends thing where it's like 16
and you know
episodes.
what? I am grateful. More CW shows should do that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, but this week, the Black Lightning was the cheese that stood alone.
Would we say it's cheesy? You know what? The matching white pantsuits, yeah, cheesy. Okay, we're good.
I was just taking the phrase.
Nope, I'm taking you literally.
Okay, all right.
And how was your week?
My week was fun. Got to relax a little bit. I in my backlog of TV viewing, I've now gotten to the point where Disney Plus is a thing.
Oh, are you exploring The Mandalorian for the first time?
I have spoken. I've seen one episode so far.
Okay. So most importantly, you've met the child.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. I'm just gonna say, like, if you told me that there was a show out there where I could have seen Carl Weathers, Nick Nolte, and Werner Herzog, I mean, I would have picked this up much sooner.
It's the Werner Herzog of it all that is so strange to me about that show.
You could tell, because like he's one mode, so like to him this was a documentary.
I don't know if you followed any of the reporting, but they wanted to make, are we avoiding spoil? I mean, like, not the child, they were gonna make him CGI, and Werner Herzog was like, you cowards, make a puppet. It's just peak Herzog.
That's amazing. That's incredible.
Look up the reporting on that incident. Can you just see him berating people? You cowards.
He just is that character he played in the first Jack Reacher movie. It's just...
You know who wasn't the character he played in that Jack Reacher movie? Tom Cruise.
I survive. He just makes the guy cut off his own pinky. That's incredible. That's amazing. Oh man. You cowards. So yeah. That should tell you how much TV I still have left to watch. Plus I'm catching up on Stumptown and Nancy Drew.
We caught up on Stumptown last night.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. If anybody was wondering what Ed and I do in our free time, that's it.
Yeah, I'm like 9 episodes behind on that, so please.
Oh,
but I saw the Donald Logue episode, so that was great.
I was just on. Oh, hey, pitch my stuff. I was just on Moving the Needle, and we're talking about sneakers. And Donald Logue is in that. A very young, long-haired, douchey Donald Logue. So I guess we're having a Donald Logue week as well.
Oh, there we go.
So yeah.
That's great. That's great. And listeners, thank you for listening. Please, if you haven't done yet, please rate and review us on whatever podcast app you're listening to. That helps people find us. Also, if you want to be really, really extra helpful, if you want to be a boss, we are part of Wicked Theory Studios, which has a Patreon, patreon.com/Wicked Theory. For as little as $1 a month, you could just, help us with our overhead. And if you do that, there's a bonus podcast for you to enjoy, which is Ed Bonds with Bill, where me and our executive producer, Bill Sweeney, watch James Bond movies together. And last week was the big one, where we got to watch On Her Majesty's Secret Service. Bill finally earned the right to see George Lazenby in action for his one Bond appearance.
I am genuinely happy for him. George Lazenby, that is. I'm happy for George Lazenby.
And I don't know if you heard, Sarah, but No Time to Die, the next Bond movie, just got delayed from April to Thanksgiving. So Bill and I thought this podcast was going to be over in like 3 weeks, and now we've got to stretch it out for another 7 months.
What are you gonna? I guess you could do like Austin Powers spoofs and things.
Yeah, we might do Austin Powers. There's also like we haven't done any of the non-canon Bond movies, like Never Say Never Again, or the 1960s spoof of Casino Royale. So there's content. There's content out there.
Doesn't Clive Owen play a spoofy James Bond in some terrible kids comedy?
Probably.
I'm just throwing like I'm hey man, I'm coming up with content for you. Trying to do what I can for my partner,
Oh, trust me, I have contents. There's also plenty of 60s movies. One of which are Michael Caine's Agent Harry Palmer movies. So no promises, but
I feel like Pennyworth also is a spiritual cousin here, so you could just make Bill,
Oh, this is true. But also, part of the deal is that we're only gonna record once a month now. So, that'll
Sure.
be for there for people to enjoy. All right. So Sarah, you ready to dive into some episodes?
Absolutely.
All right, we got one episode to cover, and that is Black Lightning. Season 3, penultimate episode. The Book of War, Chapter 2, Freedom Ain't Free. Jefferson and his team were all nervous, preparing to defend Freeland from Gravedigger. Anissa proposed to Grace. Brandon stormed off and kidnapped Dr. Jace. Khalil had a mental fight with Painkiller for control of his body. Lala pressured Lady Eve for Tobias's whereabouts. Last minute reveal, Jefferson and Gravedigger ran full speed at each other.
That was quite a cliffhanger ending.
Yeah, man. This was deep. This was like big, And
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's the kind of thing from like a story perspective, not much happens. I feel like we moved like 2 inches, but this whole episode was all character developments that I feel was very, very important.
Yeah, there was a lot. You're right. There was a lot of shuffling and moving and just a lot of people to check in with, even though bigger stuff probably is on the horizon for the finale. The question I was left with was 3 Mile Island an inside job? I mean, like, that is the thing I walked away from that episode. We could be another 3 Mile Island. Wait a second. What are you saying about 3 Mile? Oh my.
Well, I think what he meant was more in the case that where 3 Mile Island happened, and then the government went, nothing to see here. It's all fine. It's not a big deal. There's nothing to worry about. I mean, yes, technically it did melt down, but I think really it was just kind of like a cover up of something disastrous happened. and the government would just like everyone to forget about it.
I think it's much more interesting to think of them implying that the government, something happened on 3 Mile Island that the government wanted to cover. That's not what we're here to talk about, though.
No,
that little throwaway line.
But yeah. So strategizing for Gravedigger. Gravedigger's now having all these powers now. Wayne Brady, I know I keep saying this.
He's
I sound
scary.
like a broken record, but like, yeah, he's scary. He's like a total badass. And Lynn found out he's Jefferson's great uncle.
Yeah. Everybody on this show is immortal or a Pierce family member or both.
But I think it also is an interesting explanation for like what made Jefferson special, that he didn't end up being one of the pod kids, that he was actually able to control his powers.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so I thought that was interesting. That was a nice bit of threading there. And yeah. But so yeah, and and Jennifer just like flew off the handle at the end, thinking that she could take on Gravedigger, and
she really did.
Mm-hmm.
And they really have been writing her. I feel like that was earned. As frustrating as it is to see her do that,
Mm-hmm.
the show has been pointing her in that direction pretty much all season. So that feels very. I'm pleased with how they handled it, even if I want to be like, oh, honey,
Mm-hmm.
no.
Yeah, and it's the kind of and you had that argument earlier in the episode where Jefferson wanted her to hang back, for kind of like as a last resort, and I think Gamby was right. Like, no, she's your heavy hitter. She's got to be up front, as dangerous as it is.
All the kids were frustrated. You don't want to bench the junior league. They're gonna get mad.
Mm-hmm. Now Sara, you're married.
Yes.
Are Grayson and Nyssa moving too fast?
It felt unlike the Jennifer storyline. That did feel a little less like they've been progressing slowly toward that episode over episode, I will say. I do think Lynn was clearly, I couldn't tell what Lynn's reaction was at first, and I was like, "Ooh, are we tackling like that stereotype of homophobia in the Black community?" No, she was just like, "I don't know this woman. I'm glad you think you know this woman, but I don't know this woman." So, it did. I do think a same day wedding. I cannot emphasize enough how they went upstairs and came down in like 2 different very chic white pantsuits. Where did they come from?
I mean,
it bothers me, but no, it did feel very, very. And then, yeah, Gabby's gonna marry us. What? You're what now? Did it feel rushy to you as well?
It felt rushed, but I think it makes sense. Like the whole idea of we're going into this big fight, we have no idea what happens. And if we're going to die, I want to die married to you. Like, I understand that whole sense of the storyline. I think made sense.
Yeah.
It did feel like they, in terms of their relationship, it moves forward really, really fast. Like, I feel like they're just getting used to like living with each other and being truthful about each other's powers. But in terms of like why that happened, I think that's understandable. I was also kind of like surprised by Lynn's reaction too, but then also it's kind of like, well, if you weren't cooped up in a government facility working for the bad guys and getting addicted to drugs, maybe you would have been able to take the time to get to know your daughter's girlfriend. I mean, just saying.
I kind of did have to do that analysis myself too. Oh, right. She's been MIA for a long time this season, so okay.
Yeah.
I will allow it.
Yeah, but I think that's more on Lynn than it is on Anissa.
And also a little bit on the ASA. I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah.
I just want to say that the single most relatable moment in the episode last night was Grace showing off her new powers, how she can lift a table, and Anissa being like, "Hey, be careful of those candlesticks." I feel you, girl. Home decor is important.
So okay, so these man, Black Lightning packs so much into one episode and so many different storylines. So next, Sarah, do you want to tackle Brandon, Lala, or Khalil?
Let's do Brandon because Dr. Jace was having a bad week.
Yeah. I mean, like, Brandon stormed off in a huff and like, screw this. I mean, I know you need to prep, but like, Jefferson should have sent someone to tail him, you know?
Yeah, probably.
I mean, I don't think it would be very hard to figure out where he was going and what he was planning to do. And the fact that Dr. Jace is still alive, I find a minor miracle. So yeah, that was and see, because it's weird, because like I want to see Geoforce, because like they're basically setting up the outsiders now. You've got Grace Troy, you've got Thunder, and Geoforce is a big part of the outsiders. And the fact that at this point it doesn't look like he's going to participate in the final battle, I hope that gets rectified by the end of next episode. Khalil.
Honestly, I was at some points rooting for Painkiller just to take care of Khalil. If he could just wake up and like fight off those mean Markovians. And then I realized that was probably not healthy for any of us to do. So
yeah. I mean, I thought it's weird because like those scenes were so separate from the rest of the episode. But I did like the conflict. I love this mechanism that they have where you're inside Khalil's head, but you actually get to play it out like a full fight scene. I thought that was very creative. Also kind of let me thinking, like, if Painkiller is really just doing this to fulfill his programming because like he's been ordered to kill the Pierce family, like, can't like TC go in there and mix with the programming to make Painkiller think he's already completed that mission?
Ooh.
And then
that hadn't occurred to me, but I love that.
And then that would kind of like disable it, and then Khalil can sort of use that rage and Painkiller for good. I don't know.
I don't hate that. I do think Painkiller on the side of good would be powerful and effective. And Jennifer would have issues with that, probably, trust issues at first. So that could be interesting writing.
Yeah.
Okay, get on that, writers.
Yes, and the other storyline was Lala trying to get to Lady Eve, and find Tobias, and eventually he captured Dr. Blair, and was torturing him. And it's weird because like he this is another storyline that's been so separate from everything else that's going on in Freeland. Like, how is he going to bust in and just screw everything up at the end?
Yeah, I kind of forgot that Lala was still a thing. I gotta be honest, until this season. So I do expect either do you think he'll be a cliffhanger spoiler bad guy leading into next season, or is he gonna save the day reluctantly or accidentally?
I think more likely it's the latter. And the interesting thing is going to be like, if the ASA and the Markovians both leave Freeland, like, where does that leave Tobias and Lala? Where does that leave the underworld? Does Lady Eve get her seat back at the table? And is she better? And is she the big bad for next season?
That would be fun. I would like that a lot.
All right. I think we covered everything. Any other big surprises?
That hits everything on my notes.
Okay. All right. So since there was only one episode, let's dive into news for other shows.
Okay. So, hey, over on Supergirl, Melissa Benoist is pregnant with her first child with her new husband, Chris Wood. So, congratulations to them, but also, dang, what's that going to do to Supergirl?
Oh man, she's preggers. All right. We'll see.
The announcements were really cute. They seem really excited. I am genuinely happy. And I'm kind of excited to see what the show does. It's such a creative challenge for shows. So I'll be really curious if they just handle it by moving around production dates or having a shortened season, or if they do she's holding files. She's sitting at a desk.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of scene, a lot of shots from the chest up, and
a lot of body doubles.
Yeah, a lot of body doubles. Yeah, that's fine. This is something that's very manageable. It'll be interesting to see what storylines, what direction they take her storyline. Maybe we see more of her as Kara, and not as much as Supergirl. I don't know. I mean, I feel like they should be, pretty much almost at hiatus right now. So
I did see some reporting that they're shooting the final episode now. I mean, they're really wrapping up at this point. So it could be, I don't know how far along she is. Maybe they'll get a late start and they'll do a mid-season thing. It seems like this is a good time. God, I feel really bad. I feel like I'm policing her choices. I'm not at all. Like, do what you're going to do, Melissa Benoist. But since they're not doing a big crossover, it sounds like in the fall, because they're kind of done with that, probably it's a good time for Supergirl to not have to be setting up storylines to do some big epic whatever. So if they need to start later or have a different kind of runtime, they could. So yeah, we'll see.
Cool. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, so that's Supergirl. On The Flash, we're going to have a couple new regulars next season. Shouldn't surprise anybody that Chester P. Runk and Allegra are going to be regulars. So Brandon McKnight and Kayla Compton, we will see a lot more of in season 7.
Cool. That's cool. I really liked Chester's episode last week, and I'm sure Allegra will eventually grow on you, Sarah.
I suppose it doesn't help that she's a child doing journalism, because I have issues. but I do. I like and her, given her connection to Nash, whatever that is. Yeah, it all makes sense. So I'm into it. Ed, does this mean we're gonna lose Cisco?
I mean, that's what I would think. Or maybe he takes a step back. I don't know.
How many more steps back can he take?
Yeah, I mean, it feels like Chester's the kind of character you really only introduce if you're looking to give Cisco a way out. But the other thing is, like, if Cisco's going out with Camilla, and she's a big part of the Citizen, I'm sure that actress feels great that she was part of that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like if Cisco was sticking around, maybe Camilla would have also been promoted. And the fact that she wasn't, I mean, they could break up or just not show her as much. But I mean,
well, it also depends on budget, where it's like, we'll keep you around. It's just, we can only afford to make 2 of you regulars and 1 of you will stay recurring.
Sorry, Cisco's side piece.
All right.
Anyway, all right. Over on Legends of Tomorrow, justice for Brandon Routh. That's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, this is upsetting. So he went on Michael Rosenberg's podcast, and is it Rosenberg or Rosenbaum? It's Rosenbaum.
It's Rosenbaum, isn't it?
Yeah. Rosenbaum, yes.
Lex Luthor. It's fine. You can call him by his name.
Lex Luthor from Smallville. And just basically said that he and his wife were blindsided by the fact that they were leaving the show, and that they didn't think the producers handled it very well.
And he got actually pretty emotional talking about it, said he was still kind of processing. And it was, if you're a fan of Brandon Routh, which, I mean, welcome to the show, I am, it was kind of hard to listen to.
Yeah. And this is, and we had Stephen Amell have a panic attack on Rosenbaum's podcast
About
uh
the end of Arrow.
about the
Uh-huh.
about a month or two ago, which leads me to think like the CW should just send someone over to Rosenbaum's house and be like, "Hey dude, what the hell?"
Well, also he turned them down hard for the crossover, so I
Yes.
feel like it's personal. It feels personal.
Like yeah. This is upsetting. I feel bad for Brandon Routh. And like his last episode is in like 2 weeks, right? So
Yeah, it is.
it's a shame. Justice for Brandon.
Justice for Brandon and Courtney. She hasn't been on the show as long, but sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It means less Marie Antoinette, and I am not in favor of that.
Mm.
Green Arrow and the Canaries.
Canaries music.
Everybody calm down. There's no news yet. Apparently, the time frame for pickup announcement will be May. So everybody just sit tight.
So they're going to leave this to the upfronts.
I guess. I don't know. Ed, if you were a prognosticator, what would you say?
I would say that it's on the bubble, that it's not as much of a sure thing. I'm sure the CW is doing other pilots, and I mean, this kind of has a built-in audience, but I think if they had more confidence in it, I think
it would already be picked up. I think.
Yeah, they would have already picked it up. So at this point, it's whether or not they can get something they think is better from the other pilots that they're shooting right now. So, yeah, but so they're gonna leave it to the upfronts. My guess is it's probably like 50-50 right now.
Yeah. I kind of figure if they were sure about it, they would have done it. So I'll be really curious. Anyway, so that is that. Let's move over to DC Universe news. Hey, we got a premiere date for Stargirl.
Stargirl music.
You can look for that on Monday, May 11th on DC Universe streaming, and then it will air on Tuesdays. It looks like at 8/7 Central on the CW. So it's moving away from the DC Universe's schedule of Friday releases, which makes sense because they wouldn't want it to premiere on the CW on Saturdays. So that'll be a Monday/Tuesday show.
And if my scheduling looks right, that means it'll probably air right before the Legends finale, and it'll take Flash's current time slot.
Oh, sure.
So yeah, it's exciting. I'm really liking the promotions that we're seeing for that show. So bring it on.
Yeah, I will be really curious how a DC Universe show plays and gets promoted, and is it going to be kind of like the other Arrowverse shows? I don't know. So that'll be fun to watch. On Doom Patrol, a little bit of casting news. Samantha Ware is going to be a Crazy Jane personality in multiple episodes of the show's upcoming season.
Okay.
Yeah. Samantha Ware was regular on Glee in its final season. I have no memory of that or her, but that's okay.
Okay. That's cool. All right. That's a show. I feel like that show should actually be on right now. That should be airing right now. And the only reason they're not is because HBO Max hasn't launched yet.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point, because it feels like it's been more than a year. I could be wrong.
Yeah. I mean, it started in I think in February or March. But after Harley Quinn ended, Doom Patrol should have been, because there's there's no I mean the new content that's airing on DC Universe are all of their reality shows. So which I'm not as into. So there's no animated, no dramatic product right now. So we have to wait till Stargirl for that,
which is coming.
Yeah. which is coming. It's on the way.
Yep.
Mhm.
Let's see. The last news of the week is good news, and it is for Lucifer. And that is that Tom Ellis has signed on for season 6, according to TV Line.
Yes. All right, we're getting season 6. This is great. This is great news.
Yep. The article says lots of his coworkers already have deals through season 6. I didn't see any specific reporting about who does or doesn't, but you gotta believe that if, one or two people don't have contracts, they're gonna hop on. Why wouldn't you? I assume that Netflix life is a pretty good life for actors, so.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. That's awesome. And that's all the news, right?
That is all the news.
All right. So then it's on to our retro pick for this week, which is Harley Quinn. Series premiere. Till Death Do Us Part. The Joker allowed Harley Quinn to be captured by Batman and left to rot in Arkham. 1 year later, Poison Ivy broke Harley out and tried to convince her that Joker did not love her. Last minute reveal, after killing his goons and blowing up his lair, Harley left Joker alive so he could watch her take Gotham by storm.
I love this so much. I love this version of Harley. I love the version of Harley we got in the movie. I love what they're doing with Harley in this, the year of our Lord 2020. That's it. I can't believe how excited I am by something Kaylee Cuoco is involved in. It is surprising to me. She crushes this.
Yeah, I think she does a great job. I think the whole show, Lake Bell as Poison Ivy, I think is amazing. I love I love her sort of dry delivery. And I think they do a good job of, how this is a really bonkers off the wall show. But the acting in it the voice acting is still very grounded and realistic.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a perfect combination.
Does it throw you to not have Mark Hamill Jokering?
No, not as much. I think Alan Tudyk is great. You could tell that he's channeling. It feels like he's channeling Mark Hamill. But it still feels original. The one thing that is jarring, especially in this episode, I feel like it mellowed out a little later on in the show, but they're really going for the hard R here.
Yeah.
Yeah. The gore and all the broken legs and where like the bone cracks through the skin and stuff like that was a little too much for me. And and maybe I'm just a bit of a prude, but and I understand it's mature content, but the cursing felt like it was just a little jarring for me. But I feel.
I'm sorry. Do you not want to know what Batman does on his free time with bats? Is that not?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's just kind of like reading those characters in comics for so long and having them not say those things. It was just it was just a little jarring. That's all.
Sure, I get that.
Mm-hmm. But I thought this pilot set it up really well. Just like the stranglehold that Joker had over Harley. And so many different creative ways. I think the idea of Harley talking with the other version of herself, that's the psychiatrist in the photo. Mm-hmm. I thought that was great. Just that simple moment where like you understand why Poison Ivy is so concerned about Harley, because she was such a great doctor. And to get that little bit of character development where where Poison Ivy's like, I can be in the same room as other people now. I don't like it, but I can handle it. And that's because of you. Like, I thought that was.
I love that friendship. I love the way they set it up. And you're right. Lake Bell is. I am a big fan of Lake Bell. Actually, she's incredible, and she's incredible in this. And that's just so much margarita mix. Just so much. Sticky.
Yeah. And Joker's great, but I always thought the Riddler was underrated. uh um the just also JB Smoove voices Frank the Plant, and I need more Frank the Plant in my life.
I just love that. I feel like I keep wanting to make comparisons to the movie because these feel like similar trajectories for these two versions of Harley. But I like that that both properties are finally acknowledging like this was not healthy what we showed for as long as we did in comics and then in movies. This is she started off on the animated series as wacky funny sidekick, and then I think it just got twisted and super dark and creepy. Uh, which is fine, dark and creepy, go for it, but it's just so toxic and unhealthy and ugh. So I love that they have these two like primal screams of emancipation basically in this and then in the movie. So I love what they're doing with Harley and pop culture, and this show is a delight. It's a delight. And if we want to throw in an episode every time we have a light week, I would be cool with that.
Yeah.
Or we can shake things up because, variety and all that. So I don't need to pin you down on anything on air. It's fine. We can talk about it.
No, but I thought this was great, and it's the kind of thing where like just going to see, knowing the other characters like King Shark, and Cyborg, who we will meet who we get to meet in future episodes. The lack of Ron Funches was, I realized like how much I just love that comedian, who voices King Shark.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought this was a great pilot. It was a proper setup. And I really love in New 52 when they set up Harley Quinn's new look, with what she did with her hair, and getting out of the court jester uniform.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, I thought this was a great way to explain that new look. And that final scene where she's taking on everyone with the grenades, fantastic.
Oh, good stuff.
Really solid action in this show, like really spared no expense, and it is steeped in DC lore. Like this is, and we haven't even gotten into the Legion of Doom stuff, but like this feels like it's straight out of a DC comic.
But like a DC comic for adults.
Yes. Yeah. What I mean is like, just in terms of like the characters and the canon, it doesn't feel like they're going off and making up stuff. Like they're sticking to the source material, and just adding these little flares, here and there. Like like Christopher Maloney as Commissioner Gordon, who's just like needs a vacation. Just completely at the end of his room.
Which feels very, very accurate to what it would be like to be Commissioner Gordon.
Yes. And Diedrich Bader returning as Batman. He voiced Batman in The Brave and the Bold. Which to me is the perfect sense of, oh no, this is the comedy Batman.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah. This is a shallow show. Definitely recommend it. Go check it out, people.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I cannot say enough good about half an hour shows. We need more half an hour shows in our lives, all of us. So
yeah,
I'm pro.
Yeah,
I'm pro.
All right. Anything more you want to talk about with this episode?
No, it's delightful.
All right, let's move on to our winners for the week. Sarah, you want to go first, or should I go first?
Why don't you go first?
All right. So, I was originally going to say like leaping before you look, but I think the better way to put this is diving head first. And this was a theme that ran all through the Black Lightning episode. So obviously Anissa and Grace jumping right in. Hey, let's get married. While we still can, or we know we still can. Anissa running off during the wedding to take on Gravedigger. And Brandon just like, hey, I don't care about what you guys are doing right now. I need to go kidnap Dr. Chase. And Lala just beating everybody up, trying to get to Tobias, not really thinking about what the consequences could be. So, yeah, and Khalil just running away, because he's afraid of hurting Jen. It's just everyone is just diving headfirst into what they're doing.
Well, as usual, you put a lot of thought into it. And my winner of the week is Grace Joy because, hey, she's strong. She's lifting tables. She's engaged. Her girlfriend's choosing her. I guess fiance's choosing her over her mother. Kind of, not really, but you know. So I just thought Grace had an exceptional week, and we haven't seen as much of her consistently, and she got a big episode this week. So good for the actress and good for Grace.
Yeah, and also, the wedding didn't happen.
Yeah. So maybe we'll put the brakes on and, maybe get a nice church wedding or some kind of nice community center, some kind of outdoor gazebo situation,
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, like Reverend Holtz should be the one who officiates that wedding, right?
It does feel like it, yes.
If he finds out that they called the local tailor.
Wait, who did your wedding? What? Who?
All right. Cool. So that was Sarah. We did an episode.
We did a zippy episode.
Yep. That's the DCTV report for this week. You can find us on Twitter. I'm at Little Eddie O'Hare.
I'm Sarah Netzley, SaraNetzley. I was just enjoying the melodious lilt of your voice. I don't know what happened there.
Oh, okay. And follow the show on Twitter at DCTV Report. Send along your emails to dctv@wickedtheory.com. Also be sure to subscribe to our show on your podcast app of choice and rate and review us. That helps more people find us. Check out our sister show, the Wicked Theory Podcast. This has been a Wicked Theory Studios production. Executive producer, Bill Sweeney. Visit us at wickedtheory.com. Shazam, everybody.
Shazam.
Shazam!